everyone, and welcome to the final 2014 regular season edition of Instant Replay, where I give you my take on the most controversial calls of the weekend. I'm Simon Borg, and let's get right to it. Everyone is confused about two offside calls not made this weekend.
What's going on here? Are they giving a goal?
We're obviously talking about the Lee Wing goal at Gillette Stadium and the Bernardo Añor game winner in Columbus. On both occasions, a player who was offside on the original pass winds up scoring after the ball reaches him following an intervention by a defender. So we checked in with the professional referee organization, PRO, on the official ruling here, and they enlightened us about a new interpretation laid down by FIFA ahead of the 2013-14 European season, which only took effect in MLS this year. This is what you'll find in the laws of the game under the gaining an advantage section. Quote, a player in an offside position receiving the ball from an opponent who deliberately plays the ball is not considered to have gained an advantage. So credit referee Ricardo Salazar in Foxborough when he ignored the flag raised by his assistant and allowed the play to continue. Toronto's Dominic Oduro, in fact, deliberately plays the ball by going for the header. Unfortunately for him, it winds up on the foot of Revolution left back Chris Tierney, and it leads to the Lee Wing game winner. The play resets when Oduro makes the attempt to play the ball. In Columbus, the assistant referee did it all by himself. James Conley recognizes that there was a deliberate play by Philly's Maurice Adu. So the play resets and the ball winds up at the feet of the Crew's Bernardo Añor. That goal stands, and according to the laws, rightfully so. For more on this rule, check out PRO's official website, which will also include some video to help explain. But let's go back to Gillette Stadium, where the refs also wanted a penalty kick in the 69th minute. Toronto defender Stephen Caldwell spreads his wings, and he deflects this shot in the box. That's a penalty to me, but referee Ricardo Salazar, who may have been screened by Michael Bradley, doesn't call it. Bouncing back to Columbus and the opening goal by the Crew in the 13th minute. And assistant George Gansner gives the benefit of the doubt to Crew forward Jairo Arrieta, who's towing the offside line. And he does look like he's even with the last defender. No controversial offside decision there or in Montreal, where Craig Lowry nails this call on Marco Di Vaio, although the Italian forward, playing in the final match of his pro career, strongly disagrees. Another offside call that was under the microscope this weekend is the one flagged by assistant Chris Strickland in Kansas City. It's the 87th minute, and Bradley Wright Phillips needs just one more goal for the MLS record for most goals in a season, but he's definitely offside there. Good eye, ref. But could Wright Phillips have gotten his record on a 90th minute penalty kick? Look how Sporting KC's Mikey Lopez takes down New York's Roy Miller in the box. His hands are all over the Red Bulls player. Referee Armando Villarreal doesn't call it, but I think this was a foul. Lopez totally ignores the ball and takes out the player instead. And BWP would have definitely taken the PK had it been called. The Chicago Fire needed a penalty kick to get back into their game after falling behind at home to the Houston Dynamo, and it came in the 65th minute. Houston keeper Tyler Derrick clearly tripping Grant Ward, and Jeff Loreno steps up to equalize. Referee Alan Chapman had another big decision in the 82nd minute. You see how the Dynamo keeper handles the ball outside the box, but this is not an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. So I say good call by the referee to only punish Derrick with a yellow and award the free kick outside the box. But Chicago and Houston, they've been out of the playoff chase for some time now. All eyes were definitely on Vancouver and whether they could beat Colorado and make the postseason. Veteran ref Kevin Stott was in charge of this one, and it was a fairly smooth one. In fact, only one play to look at here. Vancouver's Jordan Harvey looks to leave his feet on this 87th-minute lunge at John Neeskens, and he gets a yellow from Stott. Without a replay, tough to say for sure if there should have been a red card issued instead. Regardless, the Caps make it into the playoffs, and they do it at the expense of the Portland Timbers, who still won their game in Frisco, although FC Dallas scored 2 goals that were disallowed. In the 63rd minute, Fabian Castillo uses his right hand to knock the ball into the net. Great job by referee Jair Marufo to spot it, but it's also worth noting that Rodney Wallace has his arm around Castillo and prevents him from jumping up for the ball. Would have been a harsh penalty, but that's a foul to me. Then just 2 minutes later, Blas Perez scores a goal, but this one was called back by assistant Corey Rockwell, who felt the ball cross the end line before Castillo knocked it back into the box. This is a judgment call by the assistant, but on the replay, it's really tough to say for sure. One last play from Toyota Stadium. Just before halftime, the Dallas players were appealing for Fanendo Adi to be punished for an elbow to the head of defender Zach Lloyd. Now, I don't think this was an intentional elbow. I think Adi extends his arm looking to shield the player from the ball. Regardless, it's a reckless flailing arm, so I would have gone with a yellow, but Marufo doesn't take out his cards on this one. So 2 goals called back in Frisco and another at StubHub Center. Chivas USA are up 1-0 and Chris Wondolowski thinks he has the equalizer in the 68th minute. But there's a clear foul here as Atiba Harris pushes Osvaldo Minda and referee Soren Stoica calls it. And finally, we end with the match that decided the MLS Supporters Shield. Sounders versus Galaxy, and these two teams just plain don't like each other. Referee Mark Geiger had his hands full. First, you see Clint Dempsey and AJ De La Garza getting into it. Dempsey gets a yellow on that one. Then a few minutes later, there's some questionable stuff in the Galaxy penalty box. Obafemi Martins with the shoulder charge into De La Garza. And then LA keeper Jaime Pinedo steps on Martins' foot in the aftermath. The referee just makes sure to calm everyone down. Not sure how much that worked, because in the 38th minute, Gonzalo Pineda slaps away Landon Donovan's hand after LD rakes his Achilles. Donovan is the one who goes in the books there. Then midway through the second half, the bodies go flying and the handbags come out. Some feel there might have been a little something extra on that arm by Dan Gargan that struck Ozzy Alonso. In the end, it's Marcelo Sarvas and Pineda getting the yellows. But should there have been a red in this one? Sounders defender Zach Scott, already sitting on a yellow, stops a promising attack by taking down Donovan. That looked like a second yellow to me, but Geiger saves Scott from the playoff suspension that would have resulted. But let's get to that game-winning goal by Marco Papa in the 85th minute. Geiger calls a foul, and the Sounders take it quickly, catching the LA Galaxy by surprise. But should the foul have gone the other way? The angle of the replay makes it tough to say for sure. What's clear is that Marcelo Sarvas is punished for playing in a dangerous manner when he locks the ball between his legs and prevents the Sounders players from making a play on the ball. But at the same time, Obafemi Martins looks like he's also going in a little too aggressively there. And if you watch closely, it looks like he gets a kick in too. Except that Geiger has already whistled for a Seattle free kick, and Marco Papa takes care of the rest. That's all we have for this week, but we'll be back in a couple days. Coming up in the playoffs, we'll have an instant replay after every single match. Yes, you heard right, every game. For our editor, Abner Sevis, I'm Simon Borg. See you next time.